With that, we'll turn to the gentleman from California. Mr. Costa, you are recognized for.
Thank you very much, Chairman DeBerry and Ranking Member Neal, for hosting this subcommittee effort. You have a difficult task with you today. We have a number of expiring tax measures before the House Ways and Means Committee as well as the Congress, and they all have varying degrees of merit, and obviously as we look at comprehensive tax reform, which I suspect we won't get to until next year, is my view. All of these interim tax measures obviously have to be addressed in some fashion, and I'd like to talk about a few of them in my testimony this morning, or this afternoon, I should say. Obviously, there are a number of benefits to companies and small businesses around the country, and in my district, a number of these tax measures provide incentives for biodiesel and renewable diesel, some of the renewable portfolio that my colleague was just speaking of, empowerment zone tax incentives, extensions of renewable electricity and production, percentage for the depletion for oil and gas and marginal wells. In Kern County, we have a lot of oil production, and others. But I'd like to focus today on one tax extension which has been helpful to our constituents in the San Joaquin Valley, and that's the new market tax credits. I'm pleased to have joined with over 60 of my colleagues on a bipartisan basis to co-sponsor H.R. 2655, the New Market Tax Credit Act of 2011. H.R. 2655 extends those credits for 5 years. I'd urge the committee to consider this measure as and adopt it as a part of whatever overall package you produce. At the national level, between the start of the program in 2003 and 2010, going back to the Bush administration, the new market tax credits investments totaled $20.9 billion. During the project cost for the finance projects during that time, it was $45 billion around the country. I think that's a pretty good leverage in terms of investments that were made of significant capital from other sources. This financing was mostly located in high-distress communities throughout the country. Around 60% were located in communities where the unemployment rates were at least 1.5 times the national average. In my congressional district, the new market tax credit investments totaled $60 million. In total project costs, it came to a value of over $114 million, over a 2-to-1 or almost a 2-to-1 ratio. This is significant investments in areas where capital investment is badly needed. So the leverage, I think, across the country and including my district is good. Recognizing the value of these new market tax credits in the San Joaquin Valley that I represent, I introduced H.R. 2740 last year, a bill that would help spur economic development in low-income communities. I'm aware of 2 situations that I want to bring to the attention of the subcommittee, and I'll close, that are adjacent to universities, both at Fresno State and the University of California in Merced, where no one has lived in certain census tracts at the time of the last sentence. But now, with the new census that has taken place, people live adjacent to these universities. So there was no information on income available from the last census that was taken in 2001. Now there is. There is a important student population that has taken residence adjacent to the universities. They're poised to continue development in that area to provide services to these students and to the university community. H.R. 2740 allows the new market tax credits to apply to where census tract information is not available or where a tract adjacent to 2 or more low-income communities did not exist. So I'd urge the consideration of this measure as a part of the larger effort that the subcommittee will undertake. It would benefit, in this case, these 2 university communities that are important to the education of our future, both at UC Merced as well as Fresno State. And I'd be prepared to answer any questions that the subcommittee might have at this time.